Hey friends, it's Sarah here from Sleeping is for Losers, and I am back with another Mom Blogging 101 video. And this time we're going to talk about the social media platform that started it all for me. I'm talking about Twitter. Now don't turn it off. Don't turn off the video yet, because I know what you're thinking. Twitter's dead. Twitter's a bunch of ads. It's just a whole bunch of moms doing Twitter parties to hopefully win something. And I get it. I get why you think that, except Twitter is so much more. What Twitter will not be for you, it will not be a huge driver to your blog. It will not be a place where you amass a lot of clicks and get people buying from you and checking out your blog and sharing your blog. That's not how you use Twitter. And if that's how you try to use Twitter, you will fail. But if you use Twitter in the way that I've been using Twitter, you will see crazy success. So I can tell you this anecdotally. Every single job and freelance contract I have had since 2009 can directly be connected to a relationship that started on Twitter. Every single job I've had since 2009, and because I'm a freelancer, I've had a lot of jobs. Every one of them can somehow be connected to a relationship that began on Twitter. Twitter is that crazy powerful. It's the place where you actually get to connect. I love Facebook. Facebook brings a ton of traffic to my blog, but I don't get the connection with people or brands or even PR agencies that I get when I'm on Twitter. So let's take a look at my Twitter profile and let me go through a few things that you may be missing and a few ideas for how you can utilize Twitter to create connections that will change the way you are blogging right now. So flip over to my Twitter screen. So this is my Twitter. I have almost 3,000 followers, which for Twitter is absolutely fine with me. There was a time when I had almost 10,000 and I did a huge cleaning out, and a whole bunch of bots were taken out of my account and my account went way, way down and I was so disappointed. But you know what? I've come to realize I couldn't keep up with that many people anyway. So I want you to not worry so much about how many followers you have or how many people you're following. I want you to really look at Twitter as a way to have conversations with people who you would never get to meet in real life, but people that have ideas and possibilities and opportunities for you. And you may have opportunities in return for them. So there's a few things that I'm going to point out. Number one, I brand myself differently on Twitter than I do on any other social media platform. On every other social media platform, I go by Sleeping is for Losers, the name of my blog. On Twitter, I actually go by my real name, Sarah Newcomb, and my handle is @SarahNuke. I do this for two reasons. Number one, I started Twitter in 2009 and I wasn't thinking about branding, and I just used my nickname, which happens to be Sarah Nuke. Number two, Twitter is a place where people actually want to know about me, things that are important to me, the real person, not a blogger, a real person. So I find that I get more traction by using my real name than if I went by my blog name. That being said, if you look at my profile, I definitely talk about who I am and what I do. So I say I'm a communicator, TV girl, freelance writer, teacher, avid reader, awful gardener, that is so true, mom to two boys, wife to a sports freak, and my tweets equal my opinions. I think that's a really important part to put in, my tweets equal my opinions. If you're working with any type of brand or you freelance write for anybody, you never want to act like you are somehow representing somebody else. Now, if we scroll through my Twitter feed, and we can do this kind of briefly, I have a ton of content from other people. Articles that I liked. I really liked this article right here about two athletes that have turned passions into careers. Things about raising kids. I've had epic giveaways that I've retweeted. I have current news. I live in Canada, so I have a lot of newsmakers that I follow, and I tweet that kind of current news. I occasionally tweet my own things. For example, I had partnered with Duracell to do this awesome giveaway for Halloween. That was something that I tweeted. But the majority of my Twitter feed, especially over the past few weeks, just has to do with things I like. For example, I love baseball. I am a huge Toronto Blue Jays fan. There's nothing that I love more than baseball. So when my Jays were in the playoffs, you better believe that my feed was just baseball, 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 and like a few other things thrown in here and there that was interesting to me while I was scrolling through baseball. But you know what? Of my almost 3,000 followers, I would say 2/3 of them interact with me specifically because I love sports. And I'm going to tweet all about baseball when it's baseball season. And I'm going to tweet all about basketball when it's basketball season. And I'm going to just talk sports with you because that's what I love. And that's what's interesting to me. And you know what? That's what people like when I'm on Twitter. They like to converse with me about that. I also love current events, as I mentioned before. So you're going to see a lot of news that comes onto my Twitter feed, and it's topical and it's current. And I put it on there because it's important to Sarah Newcomb, the person. And that's what I really want you to take away from this. Twitter is a really personal space where you can connect with other people. Now, I have mentioned to you before, earlier in this video, that all of my past and current jobs since 2009 have been connected with Twitter in some way. And the reason for that is because I actually converse on Twitter. If you use Twitter to just push out your own stuff, push out your own stuff, push out your own stuff, and never actually converse with people, you are doing Twitter all wrong. I do not care if you are a brand. I do not care if you are a blogger. I don't care what you do. If you're not using Twitter as a platform to have conversations about, topics that are important to you, then Twitter is not even worth your time. Don't bother. But if you're willing to put in the time and actually respond to things that are interesting to you, be thoughtful in the way that you interact with people, and create conversations and draw other people in with those conversations, well, Twitter will become a platform where you truly connect. I can also say that I've met 2 real life friends, people I know in real life, thanks to Twitter, and they have become 2 of my best friends. And the only way I ever would have met them was because we both were on Twitter. There's a lot of noise on Twitter. People will say that you can tweet something up to 15 times a day and the same people won't see it. And that may be true. And that may be an approach that you take. But I want to really challenge you to, instead of making Twitter be a place where you cram information from your personal blog or your personal business down their throats. Instead, I want it to be a place where you connect, where you retweet people by hitting the retweet button right there, where you add a comment when you're going to retweet. So I would say so true. And then you tweet that out. You add yourself to conversations. You become part of what is trending on Twitter just by conversing in a thoughtful way that engages other people and makes them excited to see you when you're on Twitter. A few little tips for Twitter. Number 1, set aside, 20, 30 minutes a day, maybe a little more late, maybe a little less, and actually scroll through your timeline and converse. That's so important. Secondly, if you're looking for very specific things, things that you really want to comment on, like for example, Rest in Peace Glenn is very popular today, or Rest in Peace Glenn and Abraham is very popular today. Some of you might know why, and I don't want to give any spoilers away, so I won't click on it. But if there's something that's topical or that you're interested in, so for example, maybe mom blogging, look for that hashtag, search it online, see what comes up. You can look for either the latest, so that means it just goes in order of the most recent tweets that use that hashtag, or the top ones, the ones that have had some of the most interaction using that hashtag. And look for people who are in your niche, who are talking about the same things you're interested in talking about, and actually engage and interact with them. Set aside a few minutes each day. Set aside some time to actually do that. And you are going to see results that you wouldn't believe. And yes, you are not going to be growing clicks on your blog. It is very rare that you grow clicks on your blog just out of Twitter. Very few people are successful doing that. But what you will grow are crazy good relationships. And as you continue to blog or you continue to build your personal brand or business, those relationships will become pivotal in your growth. That I can guarantee. So while you're not going to be using Twitter in the same way that you're going to be using other social media platforms, I hope I have convinced you that Twitter is so essential to your social media plan, especially if you're a new blogger. You need to have relationships. You need to be meeting people. You need to be a real person that is connecting with other people. That's the only way for your personal brand, your personal blog, your personal business to grow and flourish. And Twitter is the platform for you. Don't worry about paid ads. Don't worry about pushing out content and scheduling so much content. And don't worry about having tens of thousands of followers. On Twitter, it won't matter. You'll get lost in the noise. Focus on having followers who engage in the same kind of conversations you do, who want to continually talk to you, and who look forward to seeing you on there. I know that'll make a massive difference in your growth. Until next time.